Assalamualaikum. Today our group will present about Islamic Financial Services Board, which is about IFSB-10. This IFSB is about guiding principle on Sharia governance system for institutions that offering Islamic financial services.
Before we explain further, let me introduce my group member, which is consists of me, myself, Ismail, Farah, Fairuz, Daini, Amnani, Intan, and Imran.
The content of this video will consist of introduction, guiding on principles, and conclusion.
Actually, what is the objective of this standard? The objective and the direction of the IFSB is to provide a standard or a guidance for a financial institution that want to offer Islamic financial services and promote Islamic financial system. But before we explain further on this IFSB, what actually governance system? The term Sharia governance system, despite being commonly used within IFSI, Islamic Financial Services Industry, refer to a structure and process adopted by stakeholders in the IFSI, from financial regulator to market players, to ensure compliance with Sharia rules and principles. Besides, the Sharia governance system is the set of organizational tools that an IFS used to run each of the following institutions and processes in a way that in line with Sharia. What is the structure if the institution want to offer Islamic financial services? Following is the structure and the process. Firstly, issuing of relevant Sharia pronouncement and resolution. Sharia pronouncement or resolution reflect to the Islamic financial law. Only in the countries where a central authority like a National Sharia Board or Fatwa Council may issue the pronouncement or resolution can the IFS Sharia Board ensure compliance. So the IFS is bound by Sharia ruling or can be considered as Hukum al-Sharia after declaration of verdict. So the Sharia Board should truly analyze legal contract and other relevant documentation before making a decision. Next is dissemination of Sharia. Pronouncement or resolution to IFS operational worker who check compliance at all level of operation and transaction. The thirdly is an internal Sharia compliance. Review audit to check compliance, during which any non-compliant will be noted and report, and if feasible, addressed and corrected. Okay, lastly is the Sharia Board validity, the internal review audit with an annual Sharia compliance. ISRU may hand over the Sharia Board. So external auditor or Sharia business may do this. The board consultant will report IFS Sharia compliance throughout the year. So the IFS annual report may contain a board statement of compliance and more truly explanation to supervisory authorities. Okay, that's all from me. I'll pass to Imran.
Thanks Isma for the explanation about the definition and scope of Sharia governance system for IFSB-10. Now I will explain about how to use the IFSB-10 standard. IFSB-10 contains 9 guiding principles. The guiding principles are divided into 5 parts. The first part which are part 1, Sharia governance system can improve by adopting essential governance practices from recognized standards. Specific terms of reference for Sharia boards can be implemented. Proper record keeping can be adopted. Professional codes of ethics can be implemented, and alignment of incentives can be considered for improvement. The second part, part 2, measures to ensure reasonable expertise and skill set in Sharia boards are suggested. Performance evaluation of Sharia boards is recommended. Professional development opportunities for Sharia board members should be provided. The third part, which are part 3, aims to safeguard the independence of Sharia boards, especially from IIFS. Management potential or conflicts of interest are highlighted. Recommendations on how to manage conflicts of interest are provided. Part 4 emphasizes the importance of observing and preserving confidentiality in Sharia governance. Confidentiality should be maintained by all Sharia governance organizations. The last part, which are part 5, focuses on improving consistency in professionalism of Sharia board members. Consistency in professionalism is crucial in enhancing their credibility and confirming their integrity. A set of best practices is recommended for achieving consistency in professionalism of Sharia board members.
Now let's move on to the guiding principle of this IFSB.
Thank you, Isma. So let's start with part 1, general approach to Sharia governance. So in this part, it consists of two things, which are to ensure IIFS adopt governance according to their preferences, and also the second one is to ensure that Sharia board well understand their responsibilities. And also this part also, they consist of two things, two principles, which are principle 1.1 and also principle 1.2. So now let's take a look. Now let's take a look at principle 1.1. So in this principle, the Sharia governance structure should be commensurate and also proportionate according to the size, complexity, and also the nature of the business. So maybe some of you may be asking, right, what is in the details or what the principle is about. So in this principle, the first one, they have a supervisory of authorities. So they have 5, all of them. The first one is, as we all know, IIFS have an effective system, so they permit to decide which Sharia governance they want to adopt. The second one is a concern with market deficiencies and also the need for client protection. The third one is IIFS have a huge role in monitoring the health of IIFS. And the fourth one is Sharia board issuing standardized Sharia, aligning relevant policies and also framework. The last one, the fifth one, is prohibit market players from Sharia board. Next is ex ante consideration. So in product design or development stage, STC wants to ensure the Sharia governance have the Sharia resolution and also the compliance checks. Besides that, STC must have internal Sharia review and also Sharia internal reporting. Next is principle 1.2. So in this principle, it focuses on to ensure Sharia board have a clear terms regarding their responsibilities, well-defined operating procedures, and also professional ethical and conduct. So in terms of appointment, they want the appointment to be formal and also in writing. It also have a rules on how the meeting shall be conducted, the reports being prepared, and also the decision made. Lastly is the professional ethical and conduct. So IIFS must have their own established ethical conduct, comply with Sharia board, and also some basic do's and don'ts. That's all from me. Thank you. Next.
Okay, thank you Farah for the explanation of part 1. Now I'm going to continue for guiding principle part 2, its competence. What it is? It's to suggest the various measures to ensure the reasonable expertise and skill set in Sharia boards. Not only that, it also to evaluate their performance and professional development. There are 3 principles under this part. The first one is the IIFS should ensure that any person mandated with overseeing the Sharia governance system fulfill acceptable fit and proper criteria. What is meant by this is it requires the BOD and senior management of IIFS to comply with certain minimum criteria in order to ensure public confidence. IIFS needs to be competent, honest, financially sound, and will treat them fairly. The criteria they need to have a good character and also competence and capability. Move on for the second one, the IIFS should facilitate continuous professional development of persons serving on its Sharia board. IIFS need to sponsor a good training for their continuous professional development. It's to ensure the compliance with the IIFS internal control and policy and also procedures. The training should be provided both initially and on an ongoing basis. When they are first appointed in the position, IIFS should ensure that member of Sharia board and internal Sharia officer receive a good training to make them know their role and also responsibility. For the last one, there should be a formal assessment of the effectiveness of the Sharia board. What is meant by this is IIFS should decide how the Sharia board performance may be evaluated and propose objective performance criteria. And IIFS may allow the Sharia board to carry out a self-assessment. For example, individual evaluation should aim to assess whether each member of Sharia board continue to contribute effectively and to demonstrate commitment to the role. The performance assessment report should be submitted to the BOD for observation and constructive comment. And that's all from me. I will pass to Intan for the guiding principle part 3.
Thank you, Fairuz. Finish the part 2 of guiding principle. We move on to the part 3, which is independence. Independence in Sharia board means the board independence from management or improper outside interests and its capacity to make smart decisions after fairly weighing all pertinent information and point of view. They have two types of principles in this independence, which are the Sharia board should exert strong independence oversight and have the necessary tools to make decisions about Sharia-related issues that are unbiased. The Sharia board needs to emphasize issue of integrity and credibility. All members needs to make judgment without influence. Here are the conditions to determine the Sharia board as independence. That is, each of its members must not have a blood relationship with any Islamic finance services (IFS), but different in the case of Sharia advisory firm. They can be considered independent from IFS if they are not related. For example, common shareholder or common director. If a conflict cannot be avoided, the Sharia expert or advisory must declare in writing to the IFS, and it is recorded and kept by the officer. Finish the first principle. Now we move on to the second principle in part 3, which is the Sharia board should receive true, sufficient and timely information before to each meeting and on a continuous basis so that they can carry out their duties. Management in IFS needs to supply complete, accurate and sufficient information to the Sharia board. The Sharia board also has the right to ask further questions to those concerned. The information must include the background or explanation that needs to be brought to the Sharia board, disclosure document, financial statement and risk assessment report. In addition, the Sharia board should have separate and independent access from ISCO and ISRU. For the further part, I give it to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you, Intan. And now I will explain about my part, which is about confidentiality. The objective of the confidentiality is when information received by members of the Sharia board or Sharia advisory firm in the course of their activities that is not public and is not authorized to be made public. And their terms are, firstly, due to the information on the development of new product and service that the international Islamic finance plans to offer or get involved in. And then the second is when the substance of draft, opinion or decision of board of director or senior management. And then lastly, it's about in draft or final form prepared in the connection with matters presented or to be presented before the Sharia board or Sharia advisory firm. Okay, now let's move to the principal part. The principle has stated that Sharia board members should ensure that internal information obtained in the course of their duties is kept confidential. First, members of the Sharia board or Sharia advisor firm may have access to the file, records, draft material and conversation that are deemed confidential. And then the second, it is a key concern of professional ethics that confidential or sensitive information obtained by members of the Sharia board or Sharia advisory firm while serving an IFS not be used in ways that could be detrimental to the IFS, particularly in ways that could give its competitors a competitive advantage. Thank you. Next, I will pass to Daini to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Amnani, for explanation about the confidentiality. Now, I will explaining about the consistency part, which is the Sharia rules and principles based on the discipline of al-fiqh mu'amalat, is a matter of the professional judgment of members of Sharia board. This member of Sharia board should be consistent in the opinions that provide in serving on the Sharia board in different IFS, which is institution offering Islamic finance services. This method was already indicated. Competence and independence are tied to be consistency in this regard, and it also has to be professional ethics. So moving on to the principles in this consistency part, there are two principles, which is to fully understand the legal authority and regulatory framework for issues of Sharia pronouncement. Also to ensure the Sharia board strictly observe the state framework to converse the Sharia governance standard. The Sharia board should be fully aware of appropriate procedures and process which must be adhered. A majority of Sharia board at the IFSB mentioned in the Sharia pronouncement whether a transaction conducted or to be conducted. They make available supporting evidence that could be examined by other members of Sharia board. Sharia board is usually required to follow and adopt such Sharia pronouncement as issued by the Central Sharia Authority. After the products have been offered to the customers, the Sharia board should be participate in various seminars which may be outside their Sharia domains in order to expand their knowledge and understand the development in the IFSI, which is Investing for Sustainability Impact. So in conclusion, it is highly challenging to increase the public comprehension of the foundation and grounds for a Sharia declaration or judgment. That's all for 5 guiding principles in IFSB-10.
In conclusion, this IFSB will provide a standard for guidance for the financial institutions that want to offer Islamic financial services and promote it. Overall, the guiding principle aim to enhance the transparency, accountability, and effectiveness of the Sharia governance system of institutions offering financial services. By adhering to this principle, institutions can ensure that their product and services comply with Islamic principle and standard, and that their customers have a confidence in the integrity of the services provided. Hi, that was the end of our